I actually got a preview of this presentation last night. It's not all that long, but if your phone goes off, he starts over. So
I hate when that happens.
we could be here all day.
If my phone goes off, I do a happy dance.
Back in 2006, I got a letter with this guy's name on it. It was a hiring letter. He brought me aboard on a company. Probably the one thing in life that he does regret. But we've been good friends and associates ever since then. And Larry knows a lot. He's worked internationally in all kinds of technology roles. And he was technology director at the company that he brought me into. And so he knows a lot of stuff that I don't know. So listen up, take good notes. I think you'll find it very, very interesting. You do have hopefully a sheet in front of you that's an evaluation sheet. Make sure that you, thank you, Renee, appreciate it. Vanna, thank you. So make sure you fill that out as you go along. And if you have questions that you want to ask along the way, he'll tell you how he wants to take those, whether in line or at the end. But I encourage you to write those down and get the answers to your questions before you leave. So with that, I want to bring to you Larry Weber.
Thank you. Thank you. And things I don't know, I call Rick. So he's my backup on most everything. Before we get started, who has used AI in any form up till now? Who's custom using it? Oh, great, great. What are you guys using AI for? What do you use it
Well, for my business.
Like what kind of functions or processes are you doing?
What's it called? It's AI CPT.
ChatGPT?
Yeah. So I use that to get more information regarding like break-ins or.
Okay. Yeah.
So it just tells me.
Yeah.
By the way.
Good for that.
Yeah.
What else?
I like Claude for helping write blogs for the development.
I also use Claude primarily for writing as well. We were having a discussion about that. ChatGPT is great for info. I like to take it to Claude for writing. And what do you use it for?
I brought my son-in-law into my business, and he says he's downloading my brain, so we meet for an hour a day, and
Yeah.
he uses it to take notes on whatever we talk about.
Good.
Apparently I talk fast. And then he sends it to me afterwards to see if AI got it right or anything needs to be tweaked.
Yeah, that's good, because that's a great use of it to take any policy or procedure you would think of and to feed it in, and it'll put it out in a, consumable manner, a better writing style if you're having problems writing.
And
But
we also use it for documentation, because
Yep.
we have to document everything, insurance files and conversations.
Exactly, yeah.
So-
And the other thing
That
about,
way I don't have to get off the phone and start documenting it, just does it as we go.
right.
Probably more detailed than I need, but.
No, but all that information can be out there, and then it's accessible. Because the thing you can do also with it is, when you build an AI process later, that's all, that you train it with all the information that you have. So it knows the policies and procedures that you're asking about. Well, that's good. Rick, what are you doing with it?
I use it,
Some, but-
for research, helping me write. I've used it to learn, because I've been working recently on things like cryptocurrencies. And I'll say, well, acting as my advisor, tell me more about this, or I'm getting a message about this. What does that mean? And it'll go through and give me information on what error messages mean, just all kinds of things. How would you answer this?
Yeah.
I will ask it that.
Good. So most of you are familiar, at least with the basics of it, and the different products. Are you using them all?
I don't use it very much at all yet.
Okay.
But I plan to, but I haven't learned that much about it, except for just doing the basic kind of.
Okay. Well, so this isn't really part of my presentation, but I'm going to spend a couple of minutes at it anyway, because you guys are using a lot of the tools. And one of the things I found, ChatGPT is great for information, policy writing, learning about something, having spit it back at you in a consumable format like I mentioned. I use Claude. If I really want to write something for somebody, I use Claude, it's by Anthropic, to rewrite things I've written. Some of the things are you familiar with the custom GPTs in ChatGPT? So if you look, even with free accounts, you can use the custom GPTs. There are hundreds, if not probably thousands of them in the marketplace. Like if you want to do creative writing, I was mentioning an example. I use it because I had to write a eulogy for a friend's son. I thought I did a pretty good job, but I fed it into this writing analysis tool, and it came back and added a lot of stuff that I had left, it made me think about things that I had left out. Really made it a lot more effective. So I don't use it just for business, I use it for, my personal life as well. Although I do use it extensively for writing for business. Another one, Perplexity, is out there. If you have to do research, Perplexity gives you references. It will reference everything it spits back at you. So when you ask it a question, you're researching, regulations, you're researching something else, it will give you the notations at the bottom to tell you where it got the information from. Unlike ChatGPT, which is doing better, but ChatGPT will hallucinate. That's what they call it when it makes crap up, because it will hallucinate. And AI's job is to give you what you ask for. And it doesn't necessarily, at least on ChatGPT side, doesn't necessarily differentiate between facts versus hallucinations. So you gotta be careful on that. And that's why I sometimes I will do research in ChatGPT, but then I'll take it to Perplexity and let Perplexity tell me give me some feedback on what it thinks of that article I gave it. So those are some of the resources, those are good ones, and I'm glad you're using it. You got a sign company?
Yes.
One thing you may look into is Canva.
Yes.
There's Canva. Canva's got an AI generator, so if you need to create graphics, you can tell Canva what you want. And I think it's called the magic wand, I can't remember for sure, but you go there and you tell it what you want, and it'll give you some options.
Will it create a presentation for me?
Yes, but also, what's the presentation one? There is one, Rick, do you know?
Yes, I've used it. I can't tell you the name right now.
You can literally say, I want to give a presentation on AI. I did not do this, by the way. This is my stuff. But you can tell, I want to give a presentation on AI, and it's to these type of people. It will give you the slides, literally in 2 or 3
I have
minutes.
a presentation coming up.
So seriously, I was talking with a couple of people about this. You're not cheating. You're using tools available. So what AI will do for you, and it's the whole theme of my talk, is it saves you time. So, if you're a creative writer or, any creative person, you sit down and look at that blank piece of paper for God knows how long before that you get inspired. ChatGPT will give you a draft, and it's like, oh, that's not what I want, but now I know what to do. So I use it a lot for that. When I need a rough draft of something, I let AI give it to me, and then I take it, and usually the way I work it, again, not part of the presentation, but what I do is I tell it what I want, and I say, give me an outline, and then I just go with the outline, and I look at it, and I either write down the main points, or I ask AI to tell me, what should the main points be of this? I'll adjust my Word document, I'll attach it back to AI, and then say, evaluate this and improve it, and it'll do it. And you might take 2 or 3 iterations. Then when you get your outline and all the points you want to make, now I'll give you the content, whether that's slides or written content. But
So you can tell it to do slides and it'll illustrate it all and everything?
yeah, so there are a couple different tools, wish I remembered off the top of my head, for slides. But even in ChatGPT and Claude, I will tell it, I want these to be slides. So give me this information in an outline format that I'll build my slides with. And even with ChatGPT, I'm not a big fan yet of AI generated images. So, some people love them. I'm just not there yet. But I'll ask it what kind of image I should use there. And then I'll go through stock photos or my own personal resources and put those on the slides. So, yeah, AI will get you there faster and you won't be up till
So
4
will
a.m.
it leave you a slot then to put your picture
No,
in
well,
on the slide?
the one tool I'm talking about, and again, I'll find it, but I still use PowerPoint.
In video is one of them.
In videos, yeah, and video does video as well, but yeah, there's several tools out there.
I'm sorry, was it in? or
In video,
Yeah,
one
IN?
word. Mhm.
Yeah, so AI will save you time, even outside, even your personal time.
But you can't tell it to create a PowerPoint, create a PowerPoint.
Well, I've never used it for that. I'm not gonna say it can't be done, because honestly, now if you have Microsoft 365, they've integrated ChatGPT into Microsoft's whole environment.
Office, right.
Yeah, so you can use it. I just haven't done it that way yet.
It's very much a tool that you utilize to build your stuff. Like you're saying, it's very call and response. You gotta tell it one thing, go back, get another iteration of it, go back, get another iteration of it, and keep building in that capacity.
Yeah, and that's where you're gonna see a lot of naysayers about AI, because there's gonna be a lot of lazy copywriters, lazy writers that take it straight from AI and publish it.
Right. Copy and paste.
You can tell, Google can tell. And there are ways of getting around it, there are ways you can write prompts to, tell it to write certain ways. But that's taking it to the next level that you should be doing, but a lot of people aren't. However, having said that, if you have a website and you need copy for it, that's probably the quickest way to get there. Have AI create it, put it out there, and then just refine it. But again, refine anything that AI gives you, because at the end of the day, it's yours, it's your name on it, so you gotta be proud of what you're putting out there. So, good background, now I'll get into the presentation, sorry about that, but hopefully that was useful for you.
Very, thank you, Lily.
Sure,
Appreciate it.
yeah, and in the future, if you guys have questions on that, tell Rick and he'll bring me back, and it doesn't even have to be a presentation, you can just have a discussion sometime, so that's good too. Yeah, but as far as the presentation, let me get into that, and then if we have time at the end, we can have Q&A, but also during the presentation, ask questions anytime, I don't mind at all. So getting to the point for the networking group and the Chamber of Commerce, it's just a fact of life that you're in a competitive market, and you're competing not just against the people you think are your competitors, you're competing with everybody out there, because your customers, they gotta spend their money, and are they gonna spend it on you or someone else? So you've got to stand out, and the way you stand out is by giving excellent customer service. You gotta show them you're special. You gotta do the things that make them think that you're special and build that relationship with them. The problem is, you got a business to run too. So how many times have you been trying to deliver customer service, but, I gotta do this email first, I gotta do taxes, I gotta do this, whatever it is, you get distracted. It's not that you don't wanna give excellent customer service, but it's the time you're spending. And that's where AI comes in, because AI is the game changer for that. AI will help you save time and help you put more time in front of the customer where you really should be and where you can deliver good value. So the whole point of AI in this discussion is, think of it, use it to save time. Use that time that you save and put it in front of the customer so you can build a better relationship and you can stand out and you're not gonna be like everybody else out there. So, before I get too far in, I wanna thank you guys for the opportunity. As I've said, Rick said, we've known each other quite a while, and we've tried to have opportunities where I can come talk, and this is the first time in a long time, so I appreciate it. It's not all Rick's fault, I've been traveling too, so.
Sorry, blame Rick.
I like blaming Rick, that's how I get by. But what we're gonna cover today is, we're gonna talk about what AI automations are and what AI bots are, and why they matter to you. Talk about how AI can benefit your business. I've also got some prototypes I built that we'll go through, so we'll see some live examples of what it can do for you. And then I'm gonna talk about if you wanna engage and start building, your AI bots or automations, things you should consider when you do that. Because I'm not the only consultant that's gonna be pitching these ideas at you. But before you do work with anybody, I'll go through some things you need to consider. And at the end, again, we'll have Q&A. So, a little about me first, my bio. I've worked with Rick for 20 years ago. We've been friends, but I started out in IT back when fax machines were pretty high tech. So I started programming on punch cards, did that for a few years, started coding assembler and COBOL and all the geeky stuff, But I've been through, the nice thing is I've been coding all the way through there. And then about 25 years ago, I also started managing technology projects. And that's where Rick had mentioned I'd worked internationally, and I did a lot of that. That was a lot of fun. So I was able to see the world, and the thing is, I've seen a lot of change. I've seen us go from punch cards to mainframes to client server to internet, and now cloud, and now the next level of AI. And AI is where I'm really focused on right now. So we're going to talk about the power of AI automations and how you can use these to find time to really focus on your business. So one of the foundational definitions we have to understand, right, and you're going to get these slides. So
Thank you, that's gonna be my question too.
yeah, you can take notes if you like, but I think I already passed it, and there's another spot for it. But there's a QR code. You can download it if somebody wants. You take this and it'll go straight to Dropbox where the PDF is. I'll give you a second here.
I know, I can hardly ever get these things to work.
And, well, it is part of the back. If you want to come up, take a picture closer. No problem.
Renee, can you send that to me? Want me to take a vote?
Sure.
Actually, just
I just can't get it to take-
publish it on the WhatsApp group.
There you go.
Oh, no, that'd be great, because my phone's still not working.
Yeah.
Oh, be quiet, Verizon.
Nice.
Are you getting the SOS thing too?
Now I'm with T-Mobile, so I was making money.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm making fun of you and my wife today, that's what we're
Oh,
doing.
she's having the same
I got an
problem.
email earlier this morning.
So the two things I'm going to talk about
So
really
she's
from a
in the email
definition
from her phone?
standpoint are AI bots and AI automations.
You guys connect to Wi-Fi.
Take the one.
AI bots are really single-focused taskmasters. They're designed to do one thing: answer chat sessions, send a message back. Their best role is like a customer service agent, but the idea around them is they're a 24/7 customer service agent on your website or social media. And it'll take questions from your customers or anybody asking product information, things like that. An AI automation, on the other hand, is a bigger thing. That's a system, it's a process. So an AI automation can be made up of multiple AI bots, but it's also other stuff, it'll do other things. And I'm gonna talk about the difference between AI automations versus other IT integrations your business may already be using. I'll talk about that in a few slides. The difference, and there's a reason I call it AI automations, because there's some unique characteristics and benefits of them that typical IT integrations don't have. And I built both, so I'm very familiar with both kinds. So when we talk about AI use cases and how people can use AI, this is how can your business benefit from it. Overall, AI can help you enhance customer service. It can improve operational activities and the efficiencies, and both of those will then improve customer service, customer satisfaction, and help you grow your business. But that's kind of what all consultants say. That's what the books say, right? How can you really do it at your level? How can you get to your level? So let's talk about if you're a realtor. If you're a realtor, you can use a chat bot, an AI bot, to respond to customer inquiries on your website or customer service. You could use it to provide listings, and push listings into customers. You could train the bot and ask a question, have the bot ask questions of the user who logged into the website. And then based on that discussion, send them specific listings you want to promote to them. You could, if you build automations, you could do lead generation. The lead comes in from the chatbot or an email or wherever. But now you can start that funnel, that sales funnel that you're familiar with. That you get the lead, you start nurturing them, giving them information about your company and about what you do and your products and services, and eventually educate them enough, give them enough information about their problem that hopefully they buy from you. So you can set all of this up. And that's how, for the realtors, that's how they could use them. Now what if you're an insurance agency? If you want to use that, the insurance companies and agencies can save time by automating a lot of these repetitive tasks, because we know there's a lot of repetitive activities in the insurance field. So you could, once you do them and you define what they are, you can then build automations around it and save you time. Again, for an AI bot, you could do instant insurance quotes or estimates, just, you could help them review, ask them questions, interview them about their conditions, and then guide them during certain products. So it's not like a rules-based engine where it's doing things.
Right.
AI, once you train it, AI will do the evaluation and come back and give you a response, versus you having to set all the rules up. And again, they can automate policy renewals, it can manage claims, but the point is, it's gonna take away those repetitive tasks and give you more time to focus on the customer. If you're a retailer, similar activities. If you have a website, you do product services, product requests, answer questions from customers about your product, handle FAQs. If you build up automations, you could manage your inventory and your shipping product, your invoicing activities, things like that. Again, the key is saving time so you can focus on the customer and build that better customer relationship. If you're a local service business, very similar activities. You book appointments, provide quotes. That's with an AI bot. You can answer basic questions about your services. And then if you use AI automation, you can do, after you schedule it, you can automate the scheduling and invoicing. Good one, I think somebody mentioned they do route mapping, or did I misunderstand that? I thought somebody said route mapping, or, it can plan your routes. It can use Google Maps or other tools and help you plan it.
Oh,
Again,
that's good though.
excuse me?
That is good.
Yeah,
Because I do routes at Christmas time when I have to deliver about 75 Christmas gifts.
okay, yeah. That's-
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I've actually used it for helping a client in Tampa to build a route, so you can use Google Maps for that.
Thank you.
If you're a health and wellness professional, you can use it now. You can use it just like everybody else can, managing appointments and bookings, answer FAQs, build automations around patient follow-up and reminders on appointments. Again, focus on the customer, let AI give you that time so you can do that. But regardless of what business you're in, AI bots in general, they're giving you that 24/7 availability. Your customers can come online and ask any question they want. You want to automate those repetitive tasks. I'm a broken record, you're saving time. The whole focus is saving time. So I also mentioned that some of you are listening going, I already have automations that do that. I already have,
Right.
whether you have ClickFunnels, Go High Level, Keep, any of those products out there that do that. The difference between them is a traditional integration, which I'm considering something like ClickFunnels or your own build stuff with, if you use Make or Zapier, those are rules-based followers. They have to follow the rules you define for them and you give them. You gotta do a lot of work up front to do that analysis about what are the possible outcomes, what are the possible decisions it's gonna have to make. Whereas with AI automations, AI has reasoning. AI, you can get at the rules, but they're not gonna be in a coding way. So you can do this without being an IT person. You can define the rules, you can train the AI to work a certain way. And if AI finds a condition that you hadn't encountered, you can easily have a default position or tell it what to, tell it how to respond during times like that. It could send a warning that we have a new record type, something like that. But the difference between the two is AI is a lot more flexible. So again, traditional IT interfaces, you've got to define the rules, you've got to do the coding. If it has you run into an anomaly, you may have a problem, or it may go to the wrong place. With AI, you can you give it more general rules and train it, but it's going to be more flexible for you, and you're going to be able to react to your customer conditions better. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a tool that I use for the basic chatbots that you can ask questions of it, it'll be on your website or social media. I'm going to show you a couple examples of those. The first one I cover, it's going to be for interstate auto repair. So what I did was I copied the website. I took an image of it. I didn't rebuild your website. So, but I've got a chatbot on the front of it. And we're going to ask it some general questions. What it did was it looked at all your website content and it trained itself on the information you had on the website. And then the second one we look at, I actually put some specific training in it to show it a little different, that if I ask it some crazy questions that it doesn't know the answer to, it's got a certain way of answering. That one's for a healthcare company or a health and wellness company, and you'll see it. But in the healthcare field, obviously, there's some compliance issues, and you don't want to do anything where you do anything wrong, where you can be exposed for liability. So it's got a response that says, disclaimer, you got to go see a doctor first. But I'll show you this. I'll sit down for a minute.
While you're bringing that up, Larry, I'll mention one of the good cases for using AI over just a straight rules based. If you've ever called into a place and they say, well, welcome, here's option 1, option 2, or option 3, and none of those are the option you want, so you say, live person. Okay, great, what would you like to talk to them about, option 1, option 2, or option 3? It's like, and that's all it's got. So that's where AI can come in and just do a much better job with your customers, so they're not teed off by the time they get to you.
And things you can do around that to humanize AI is, you're going to see when it responds, it's pretty fast, and you're going to see a response this long that it just popped out, and you're going to go, there's no way to type all that, at once. But that's okay. You can put a timer on it. You can put a delayer on it, so it has time to respond to things. In some cases, if you get some real complex questions, it might need a few more seconds. But still, it's going to be faster than what a human would give. And you can do things to humanize it. And there's also, I use Descript, and there's a few of them, but where it's my voice. I've trained that AI in my voice. It'll come back and talk to you in my voice. You can do that with online bots where it'll be a human voice talking to them. And especially with the latest version of ChatGPT, they've got voice integration now built in. You don't even have to use some of these other tools. But it will speak to you. And it's fast. It's like a human. So anyway, this is for interstate auto repair. And it's the basic bot without training it. So it's trained itself on everything you have on your website and on Google Business page. So I can start out. Let's ask it some basic questions. What are your business hours? It's thinking, hopefully, a connection state. Yeah. So Monday through Friday, 6 to 8. Is that right?
No.
8 a.m. to 6. I'm sorry, dyslexia.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, pull that out from Google Docs or Google Business Profile or your website.
Okay.
So we'll look into that.
So,
I know it's not Google, whatever.
Are you
Okay.
open on Saturdays?
how do you go about integrating a bot onto your website?
That I'll talk about that in a few minutes.
You got it.
But yeah, it's not hard. This will do it. This is the basic way of doing it.
Okay.
Are you
Monday
technical?
through Friday, so.
Yeah, I am a little bit
Okay.
more.
So, do you use WordPress or some other tool?
Yeah, I've used a few of them.
Okay, anywhere you have an embed code,
Okay.
you know, most of those all have some type of embed code widget, that's where you put it.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah.
I have to find the bot that I like.
Yeah, you have to find a tool
Yeah.
that builds the bot that you like,
Right.
and then it will give, when you publish it in that tool, I'm speaking in general terms.
Yeah, no,
most
yeah.
tools, You'll create the bot, you'll publish it, and when you publish it, they will give you a link, or not a link, it's the code to put in there. Within that code will be a link to the tool
Right.
where your bot's running. That's what this will do. So, let's see, what kind of vehicles? And it takes spelling errors, tries to figure it out. You can't confuse it if you're really good at that sport. What kind of vehicles do you work on?
Road rules.
True that, true that.
So, it's gonna come back and work on everything, right?
All makes and models.
Okay, good. Okay, so, and it's asking, is there a specific type of service or anything? So I'll say, yes, in my case, I have a 2021 Toyota Sequoia. And I need brakes replaced. I also need an alignment. And you sell tires. So it's interesting in this one, so we definitely help with the brake replacement and alignment, we don't sell tires, and we can recommend the installation, trusted local suppliers, so it's coming back with, I assume that's the proper response you'd like.
Yep.
So it's a, do you want to book an appointment? So, yes. Let's see. Go with. Okay, let's see what it comes back with for an appointment. So, it asks for a preferred date, so let's just say Wednesday morning. And it will most likely come back and, say, okay, great, but let's talk to get a specific time. And you can actually integrate a calendar tool, so if you got your appointment scheduler set up in a calendar tool, you can connect with that, and as long as it's got an open API, it'll talk back and forth. And, so would 9 AM work for you? And let's say yes. It'll say, great, you have an appointment, most likely. Okay, great, so for Wednesday at 9 AM, so I'm gonna ask for this specifics. Is this helpful the way I'm doing this? Okay, I don't wanna bore you, but okay, so it came back with the information. Now, you probably wanna say, what's the date on that? Just confirm the date. It will do all of that. One thing I like doing, so ask it a question, outside the parameters it's been trained in. Let's see. You open at 8 AM, it says, can I bring it in at 7 AM? Let's see what it tells me. So we can't do it prior to 8 AM. What you can do when you train it, and by training it, I mean you give it the parameters you want it to use when it talks to the customer. You'd say, if you want an early drop-off, we'll take vehicles as early as 7, or bring it the night before. You can tell if you have a locked environment, locked setting, you can put it in. whatever it is you wanna do to help it figure it out, you know, to help the customer make that appointment. But you let AI do it, so your person on the phone doesn't, or somebody else doesn't. Now you save time and you can again focus on the other customers. This is another one, that I'm using, Pure Wellness. I guess she's not here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not here today.
Okay, but I wanted to use it because, again, I'm trying to stay away from HIPAA type stuff, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be using it. There's still things you can do, and you can put disclaimers out there. So like, for example, so I trained this one and gave it some information to use. If I ask something outside the bounds, I want the customer service bot to use. So, and come back to this. It used the information on the website to train itself. So I'm going to say, where is your office? And it should come back and say, yep, we offer virtual appointments. So basically, she doesn't have an office, she's doing this all virtually. So it explains. She also has some packages, you know, care packages. I'll clarify that. You have care packages I can choose from. So this is an example of you're giving it your service and product information, you're training it on there so it knows how to answer it. And it'll come back. I use basic information. I would want to probably pretty up the response, but I use just basic information I pulled from the website just for this prototype. But now it shows the packages that it has. So now let's just say I would like to get the, let's see, 3-month intensive. It should come back and ask me, okay, let's set an appointment up. Yep, so now it's telling you, it's guiding the user, the visitor to your website or social media, it's guiding them through the process, trying to get them to set up an appointment. Now again, because this is compliance related and HIPAA, and so I'm gonna tell it, I have migraines, will service take care of that. I'm not a medical person, so I don't have a lot of examples. But it should come back, and I programmed it to have a disclaimer. So we can help nutritional. Well, it didn't come with the disclaimer. Why not? I did when I asked about how about sciatica. That was one of the only words I knew. So. But it should give me the disclaimer. So far, it hasn't said it, and
Just to consult your doctor.
yeah, but I want it to give a specific disclaimer. Let's see.
And when you say you're teaching it, Larry, are you physically teaching it right now by typing these questions, or have you done homework in the past and fed it information?
No, when I set it up, I built the rules I wanted it to follow. But they're not rules like programming rules.
Right.
It's a conversational type. I can even show them to you. Let's see if I got that up. But now, adding on to that, what it can do is, let's see if I can enlarge that. So when I set the rules up, they're word rules. See, I mean, they're not like IT language or coding language or anything like that. Used English language, just gave it the background, and like it has an FAQ section where I took the frequently asked questions from our website and I added to it additional questions I wanted it to use when answering responses. So I said, whenever responding to health related, give me this disclaimer. So I'm gonna go back to that.
So that Word document is kind of like how you coded it. essentially.
Yeah, I wrote it here and then copied it into the tool.
That's the prompt.
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly. This is
Understood.
content within the prompt.
Got it, okay. I was confused on when you were saying it, but now I get it.
Have you used Claude or Perplexity or any of those, even ChatGPT?
Yeah, I've used GPT and a few others.
And when you see in the, because if you look in the prompt when you're in a conversation with it, there's a paper clip, so you can attach documentation.
Files and stuff.
That's where you put the rules, like if you just want your own personal chatbot, you put all the parameters, constraints, rules, whatever term you wanna use, all the information you wanna train that bot in during this session. And that's the difference between ChatGPT is, it's only during that session you're using.
Right.
You can publish it, and
Right.
it will always have those rules.
Right.
But for like this, I'm building a multi-step bot, and then it's trained and it's always there. Now you asked, is it training itself as it goes along? Yes, it is taking the information from the chat session and it's adding to the information that it has.
Okay.
So if you ask the question, you know, can you take care of this problem? And it comes back, so this is we're a nutrition and wellness service. We don't treat
Right. Whatever.
ADD, whatever, I don't know. We don't treat that. It knows that thing, and you can also.
Oh, it'll save that information.
Yes, it
and-
saves that into the prompt. And this is one thing you have to understand when you do start using bots. So it starts building up content. You got 100 people come to your website.
Right.
You start building up content. Well, the way AI works, it always takes that and the entire chunk, and what it does is it's called
Paraphrases,
chunking.
right.
It takes all that data, pushes it back to the AI. You're paying for that. You will be charged a monthly fee. Usually it covers, and when I say you're paying for it, each prompt may cost you a third of a penny. Each time you're doing this. But now envision 1,000 customers hitting your website all the time. Pretty soon you're gonna start having a substantial bill of $10, $20, $50, $100. But think of the money you save, or the time you save. If all those questions are coming to your website, think of all that time you save. That $100 you're paying, well worth it.
So you are billed this like you are an old school phone bill.
Yeah, what I do you have to pay for a setup fee, because the setup fee includes, and I'll go over this in a few minutes, the setup fee includes training it and setting this up, and then there's a monthly fee for maintenance. Because the other thing we wanna do is, we wanna go into all of that output for the month and delete duplicate stuff.
Right.
Because we don't wanna send all that stuff, because the more content you send AI, the longer it's gonna take to process through it.
Right.
The more it's gonna cost you. Again, we're talking, tens of pennies it's gonna cost you for each prompt. But we wanna be smart about it. And you wanna save the time and the response time as well. So, yeah, so this is the training that I gave it, and then this is the output. So I wanna get that disclaimer, because again, this is the disclaimer where I want it. Whenever you ask, when responding to a health-related question, please append the following disclosure to your response, and then it should come back with that. And I can do things to make sure it always does, because you can write a prompt that's, part of the prompt that says, always, put this in there. But I'm not gonna take the time right now. You see and you get the idea of it here, I think.
So, are there multiple things that we need to, like if I already have the more robust version of OpenAI, for example, will I need to download and or subscribe to these additional tools as well?
Yeah, because this is a service that I will provide.
Got it.
That I provide.
Got
Now,
it.
if you wanna do it
Oh,
yourself-
okay, it's not, yeah.
No.
Sorry, it's the service that you provide.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I'm open. I mean, you wanna know how to do it, I'm very transparent. I can tell you the tools I use.
Right.
I use a thing called Quick Responder. For this one, a basic one, I also use Mind Studio. Mind Studio is more like an enterprise workflow builder.
Okay.
And you can use multiple AI engines. I can start with ChatGPT and just have a general conversation.
Right.
And I can even use the free ChatGPT engine
Right.
to start the general conversation. Ask it what it wants. Next step is it takes it, rewords it in chat, and then comes back and gives you a message back. Now, the next time that you respond to that message, I can go to Perplexity. I can go to Claude. I can go
Right.
anywhere.
Right.
I can even give you an image,
Mhm.
I can even start talking in a voice if you want. So MindFlow, it's a workflow builder, And it's not that expensive either, but it does take, you gotta spend some time learning it.
Right.
And it's not,
And maintaining it.
So if we don't want the learning curve, we can.
exactly, if you don't want the learning curve, you call me. If you want the learning curve, call me in a few months, I'll have a course on it. But yeah, I do think it's gonna behoove somebody in your organization, for every business owner, if you
To
have multiple
learn
people,
it, right.
somebody should learn it. And somebody should start focusing on it now.
Yeah.
Because these things, as you said, you know, it's in Office 365 now.
Right.
It's gonna be more pervasive in all these tools.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people who use it first are gonna benefit from it.
Yeah, I just mess around with it, which is why I'm asking you these questions, because I know that there's different levels of tools and
Yeah.
stuff like that, so.
And I'm not gonna claim to know all of them.
Yeah.
I played with a lot of them, but, you know, I kinda geek out on them.
You are going over very basic
Mhm.
stuff right now.
Yes.
This is pretty much everything that I know up to this
Yep.
point by dilly-dallying.
And I'm gonna show you where you can go.
Okay.
That's a good segue.
Yeah, yeah.
So going back to this, going back to the slide presentation now. So after we look at those examples, are there any questions on the examples before I do move forward? Okay.
Before you go on, Larry, I'll just mention this, because you talked about, you know, like replacing people, or at least it's come up in conversation, replacing people with AI or things like that. Long before you would replace somebody with AI, you're gonna tell them, look, you're gonna start using AI in your job.
Right.
Because it's gonna help you do a better job, and it's gonna help you keep your job.
Yeah.
And so that's
That's
really.
the key thing.
Yeah.
See, the media, you know, they like to sensationalize everything. You're gonna lose your job, you're gonna be working for a robot. No, but you're gonna be working for somebody who does use AI. That's the thing to keep in mind. These tools, it's like any technology or any, you know, new process that comes out. Take advantage of it, be a first mover, learn how to use it, learn how it can help your business, and you're gonna be there first. I have no doubt that a year, 18 months from now, everybody's gonna be doing something like this. Now, really, when I say everybody, it's gonna go from 2% of businesses, 1 or 2%, to 10 and 15%. Once 10 or 15% of businesses are using AI and the competition in the market sees them doing it, it's just gonna exponentially build. But it's just gonna be something that we have to adapt to. I'm not worried about losing my job to AI, but like they say, I'm worried about losing my job to somebody who uses AI effectively.
Right.
And that's who your competition would be. So if you are wanting to get into AI, I'm not gonna be the only guy that pitches AI to you. There's gonna be a lot of AI marketing agencies, consultants, people out there doing that. So they're gonna help you with this process. This is what I'm gonna suggest to you as you start out. What we just talked about, the communication bots, the chat bots, that's the first step. The reason you wanna do that first is it's low hanging fruit. It's something you can easily do. One, you can see where your customers are coming from. You know, I don't know, do you guys know where your customers come from? Whether it's your website, WhatsApp, Facebook.
Call in, right.
Do you guys know all that? If you do, then that's where I would start putting some of these bots. I would go where they come first. You can put them anywhere. It's literally a click of a publish button to put them on all these different
Right.
social media. So you can do that, but what you can do is, and you can put the source and track the source and where they're coming from. But this is low hanging fruit. This is where you start. Then after that, go to lead generation. So not just customer service chats. This could be the same bot, but it's also doing lead generation as far as collecting the name and email and phone number of somebody. But then you can start sending them down a funnel. You know, you can put them in a marketing funnel where you start nurturing them and educating them on your products, just getting to know them better and them getting to know you better. And then the next one is automate your appointment scheduling and even payment processing. You should be able to take, you know, depending on what you're using for payment processing, you can integrate that into a bot. Same as doing it via email, doing it on your website, it's the same concept. But now you're doing it through a chat session. The next step makes it even more useful for you is when you started that marketing funnel, but now if you got a CRM system, do you guys use any CRM system?
Yeah.
Cool, that's great, because you can easily integrate these. I don't know, there may be some, I doubt there's any CRM system out there today that won't have an open AI, an open API that you can use.
Right.
But you wanna integrate these, that way you can have a conversation in your chat bot, your AI bot, then you can extract the data they give you and push it back to your CRM system.
Is it worth it becoming proficient in a given AI tool first, or should you be looking at, like, for example, the CRM and what they integrate with, and then learn that given language or system?
I hate to say it depends, but
Okay.
I haven't seen, it depends on what your budget is. That's where it's really, the question is. Because if you use Salesforce.com, is anybody doing that?
We have CRM integrated with Salesforce. Right?
Okay, well, Salesforce is pretty damn good. Problem is, you pay per user.
Right.
So it gets expensive pretty quick.
Right.
And if you're using something like, high level, ClickFunnels, those are not really high levels of CRM system. ClickFunnels are more marketing funnels. But any tools like that, yeah, the APIs already exist and you can integrate them pretty easily. If you're using tools like that, you need, the application programming interface.
Right.
That's,
Okay, that's a cool term for, here's how you talk to me.
Right.
yeah, it's, and I hate to get technical like that, because you don't have to know APIs anymore.
Right.
In the old days,
You did.
you had to have somebody like me that knew how to code them and direct, that knew how to access them. Now they're pretty much, they're drag and drop.
Right.
If you want to do something like this, some of the tools you should look at are Make and Zapier.
Yeah, Xavier is the one that I.
Yeah, and Zapier's good, they're both good,
Right.
and they're both drag and drop type things where you don't have to be a programmer.
Okay.
It helps have some skill,
Yeah.
some knowledge, but there's enough, the other thing, YouTube is your friend. There's so many videos out there on using these tools, it's awesome. So, when you integrate it with your AI and your AI with your marketing system and CRM, and then the full-blown way is then building automations. And again, these are full processes, multi-steps, multiple activities going on that will help you automate your business and spend more time in front of the customer. I'm not gonna cover this slide really, but I wanted it for the copies. So this is why you wanna do each of these. So again, you have copies of that. But now, when other people are gonna pitch you on integrating AI, these are things that you should consider. And the ones in orange I'm gonna talk about in more detail, is that you need to make sure your integration partner, marketing consultant, AI consultant, whoever they are, think of these things when you do talk to them. Right? So, what's their experience and expertise? Anybody tells you they've been doing it for 10 years, which I've heard a few people say, well, I think they call that stolen valor, that hasn't been around that long, unless you're working for some companies like Google, some of the bigger companies, sure. People have been working on AI for 30 years technically, but it hasn't been commercially available but for the last few years.
Right.
Just check, and see what they're doing. When I say custom solution versus standard template, the bots I sold you was basically a standard template. But you can easily take that from that chatbot to more custom solution and do things, you train it better, you can have it go to integrate with your email system, your CRM system. That's not even full automation yet, but you can do some of those things with the smaller tools. Scalability, flexibility, integration with your existing tools. This is the transparency and AI training. You want to be part of that. You want them to ask you, what is your product information? What is your service information? Do you have policies and procedures for your employees? Doesn't mean that the user going to the website is going to see this stuff, but now you've trained your bot to know the same thing your employees do. I got, whatever the policy and procedure is, I've got to go from point A to point B with something. You're telling it that, and your bot will know that as well. Cost transparency, ask how much the AI costs are going to be every month, because if you have high usage, it does get more expensive.
Right.
Just know that. It's like anything, just like your cell phone that doesn't work. So, data security and compliance, this is important for you to understand. Anything, unless you have an AI large language model in your company, which most people don't, because they're expensive, but that's changing probably in the next 6 to 12 months. It's gonna be to the point very soon where you're gonna have your own version of ChatGPT. Now, is it gonna be trained on the stuff you need it to? No, but I can have it running right here. I can put it on a server in a secure environment. Today, they're all in the cloud. So be careful if you have confidential data. I wouldn't want to put financial data or healthcare information out there, but know that there are ways coming soon that you're gonna be able to do stuff like that. And again, compliance, HIPAA stuff, I just stay away from HIPAA. So, love to help with the chatbot, but I don't do mess with it. Performance tracking and analytics, you know, you want to get reports, you want to know what your AI bot is doing for you, and then your ongoing support and maintenance. How much is that going to cost you? So, yeah, we got through it now. So, time for additional questions or any other discussion you want to have. I'm in the Phoenix area. I always like talking about this stuff. So, if anybody wants to, you know, talk about solutions or, you know, tech solutions, not even AI, give me a call.
Can you do my AI and see if they can figure out how to fix this stupid SOS thing?
Well, today I'd probably tell you go to T-Mobile, but
Go directly to the store. Go to the competitors.
out of this, I would encourage you to at least take a chance and look at what a chatbot can do for you to get started. The minimum it's going to do for you is to get you some feedback on how your customers are using your website and how they're interacting with you on social media. So if you want me to help you, typically I charge $1,000 to set it up, and then $297 a month. And for everybody here, I'll bring it down to the benefit of being in Rick's group. So it'll be a $297 setup and $197 a month. And call me if that's something you want to do. And again, we can talk about it anytime. And then also, here's that QR code again if somebody still needs it. But any other questions? Anything I can help you with?
My only comment is to always teach your AI stuff too. Because I recently had it integrated with my CRM, and I was telling Michelle this the other day when we were over the phone. But it will notice when, for example, our office calls out 3 times without a response and we left a voicemail. So the email that followed up after that was, "Hello, so-and-so, we failed to miss you at this number. Is that even right?" It's pretty childish to put incorrect information.
Yeah, it was a total.
It said that?
It was a
Yeah.
total smartass.
It was a smart ass. Like I probably personally would have said something similar via email, but like I was very much impressed with its ability to put together the information based off of the tasks that were completed, but
Yes,
data
you
not
gotta train.
obtained.
I'm surprised it went that far, because most AI engines are pretty mannerly.
Right.
You've got to tell it when to break its bounds of
Right.
language.
And apparently picked up on his snarkiness.
Yeah, I just read all and said, oh, this guy called.
And I don't know, it could be a limit to the amount of tasks that it reads or whatever, right?
I'm surprised, but you definitely can train it to say, always use formality,
Right.
sir, Mr., whatever. I've seen them where they
So
put,
then it would say,
they put in dad
Mr.
jokes.
Childish.
I've seen them put dad jokes at the end of every conversation. Chat. I've seen them, ChatGPT, until you get it in-house, it's got restrictions on it. You can't do a lot of political stuff. You can't do a lot of types of humor that may make us laugh, but it does have some limitations.
So can you go into settings and move a slider to tell it how much of a smart
Well,
ass
you actually do configure the engine for creativity, because it does have boundaries on creativity. If you put it far to the left, it's very rigid. It's always gonna come back with the same terms. You
Right.
put it far to the right, you're gonna get a different response every time.
Right.
Mhm.
And so that may be one thing, but calling somebody out.
Well, yeah, it was, like I said, I probably would have said something like that, so it could have picked up something like that, but I was more impressed with its ability to do that, where I was like, oh shit, okay.
I lost that customer, but it sure made me laugh. All right, well, I appreciate your time. Like I
The
said,
question is, did they respond?
They did not.
They're going, they went to somebody else. They went to Geico.
They were working with a lot, and then they got that, oh, yeah,
Maybe so, yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Rick.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
You bet.
Great presentation.
Yeah, thanks,
I love your feedback, too, so
Yeah.
appreciate it.
There's something in the programming world that we call use cases. What that means is, tell me a story. Tell me a story about how you see yourself potentially using what Larry's presented today. Who wants to go first? Tell me a story about how you think you might use something like this.
I'm gonna delegate to my son-in-law. Because he's already kind of using it, but then I'm gonna have him
Good.
set up a template, like how you talked about for insurance customers to get the basic
Mm-hmm.
quote stuff we need.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
obviously without the HIPAA type stuff, but just like something like your age, your dates of birth, never mind. But whatever we can do, and if there's a way, I guess I'll have him look at it, and maybe you already know, if there's a way to encrypt it.
Well, you can definitely put it behind a secure login. So you can put it on a page that's secure on your website, and then you can have that chat session there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would, and then.
That's versus having it on your home page. You could, if you, once they've made a decision that, yeah, I want to talk to you about insurance, you get them to log in, and then you can put that new chat session behind the login. That's possible, yeah.
Yeah. Who else you got a story about? Here's how I think I might be able to use this in my business. Well, lead generating. Lead generating, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Can you see yourself getting, not getting rid of the tire kickers, because in amongst the tire kickers, sometimes they come back and buy a car that went with the tire they kicked. But being able to handle some of those tire kicking options, now you are free to do something else.
Yeah, definitely free up my time, not only on the lead integration, but just some of the service stuff that can be easily or more easily handled than, say, getting someone directly involved and having to pick up the phone and, wait. There's situations like that all the time, right? But the simpler service stuff, I'm more eager to get situated, because the more time I can free up for other people, the better it is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And
yeah.
also, I'd like to do something with an automated where it says, hey, we received your information, working on it, we'll get back with you.
Yeah.
So you don't get all those extra emails and say, did you get it?
Yeah, you can definitely do that, and that's not even really AI, but what you could do is, from an AI perspective, is when you've got that notification back, you could determine what kind of response you're giving them. Yes, we got it, might be the default, but if you know what's in that, but we're still missing